Hi, I'm Ray.
And I'm Saren.
We're your Spider Baby hosts from To Know Her Is to Fear Her, a Spider-Woman podcast, as well as proud members of the collective.
You're listening to Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks. Enjoy the show!
This episode of Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
This is Luca Perich, and you are listening to the Capes and the Lunatics Sidekicks podcast.
Yeah, whatever. Ben Reilly, Spider-Man's clone. He's the guy. He's got a sweatshirt. Yeah, that's how you know he's different. And he's a blonde hair.
That's right, kids. It's Lil Hellfire's favorite podcast. The Scarlet Poops edition of Spider-Cast. I am Phil, so of course that means I am joined by... just in the king of the nick in the nick of time, it is.
Hi, this is Matt. Figured you were talking about me.
And king of the drop bears, it is.
Hey, hello everyone, it's Ray. Can't wait to talk Scarlet Spider. Can't wait to talk all spiders. There's too many of them.
Oh yeah, has anyone been reading Iron Man? Because he's been showing up a little bit.
Oh, no, you haven't, not yet.
Because Iron Man's put together like some weird little team. They got Scarlet Spider, Misty Knight, Frogman.
Oh, wow.
The Gargoyle, yeah.
The Gargoyle.
Yeah.
Not the Grey Gargoyle.
No,
but
like,
just
no, it's like, I don't know if you ever read any Defenders, but he was like in a bunch of those.
Oh, yeah. He looks like Etrigan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you DC guys know, how Ray?
Yeah, some DC through and through, you know. Matt, how you going?
I'm all right. Yeah, nice to see you.
Yeah, I mean, it's self-imposed, so I've got no one to blame but myself, but it's been a while since I caught you guys on, with the Green Lantern podcast now. R.I.P. Quasar, but, you know.
We might do a special somewhere, because, yeah.
Yeah, he turned up again at Guardians of the Galaxy. Someone...
Yeah, the very last page, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe if he's in the next few, maybe we'll do a special episode. Ooh,
reunion. Between you three guys, but, you know, you're still there.
We're like the Stones. We're like the Rolling Stones. We're going to retire every year.
No, they didn't do a reunion. They just stuck with it, right? The Rolling Stones
kept on going, yeah. They never stopped.
I swear there was some band this, like they always said they were going to retire. Like every year they had like a retirement tour or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Kiss is like
Kiss
that.
Is a bad one
for sure.
Yeah.
We're like Kiss. We have to go in full makeup next time we do a podcast.
Yeah, some of those coffins.
Deary me.
All right. So you boys want to jump into these?
Yeah.
Get right into the courtroom drama.
Oh my god, yeah.
The trial of Peter Parker, yes. It began in Web of Spider-Man 126 from July 1995. I was going to say the middle of summer, or maybe winter for Ray, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So when we had like summer annuals up here, so they were like for the winter for you?
Yeah, they were. I guess it didn't really make that much difference, but it was seasonal. I'm sure the stories were seasonal.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, the actual stories that had nothing to do with the season, but yeah, I mean, like every summer we'd get like the early 90s, we'd get all those like tie-in annuals and stuff. And...
Yeah. It's like the summer movies. The summer movies are like winter movies for us. So yeah. Summer blockbuster.
That was funny. We were talking about weather last night when we were talking about Justice League, and I was like, Connor, I'm like, you guys don't get snow down there, right? He's like, well, if I go to the top of a mountain or something.
Well, he's not wrong. You know,
must be nice.
we have to search high and low. We have to search high for snow. So.
If you search low, you're out of luck. You can search low if you want, but
it says low, just nothing but dirt and drop bears. So.
Because Conan, because we had two people from Alaska, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's snowing here." I was like, "Oh, it's 66 here on the East Coast."
Yeah,
all kinds of different weather here. All right, so of course, the first issue, of course, what's it called? Opening statements.
Yeah.
All right. As Spider-Man swings across the city searching for Kaine, he thinks about how strange his life has become, particularly since the return of his clone, Ben Reilly, who is long believed to be dead. Wait a minute, hold on. I skip the credits here. Because the writer was Todd DeZago, penciler Roy Burdine, who I've never heard of before. So
the police artist.
Yeah, this is so cool. Look at all courtroom coverage. Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because it's like I don't remember hearing of this artist before. He must have been,
or ever again.
I was gonna say he must have been a fill-in because I don't remember him, at least on Spider-Man. I never remember seeing him ever again.
I feel like I've seen this style. I don't know. Maybe not. But,
I mean, unless he worked under a different name or something too, because Christopher Priest used to be Jim Owsley. So
wow.
All right. I don't know why. He did.
So no, I was about to say, didn't D.G. Chichester write under a pen name as well? Towards the end?
Yeah. Because I don't know if he was happy with some of the stuff they wanted to do. I'll ask him, but yeah, he was. Yeah, what's that pseudonym? It's like a Screen Actors thing where it's like if they're not happy with the final product, they use the certain name.
Alan Smithy.
I believe,
like
his last.
Oh,
it's for directors that don't want their names attached to a film. Yeah.
That was like his last arc or two. He was Alan Smithy. Yeah.
There was even a movie that was called an Alan Smithy film that the director was not happy about. So it was an Alan Smithy film directed by Alan Smithy.
Alan Smithy. Oh wow.
Yeah.
What a train wreck.
I know.
Yes, it's crazy. Just like,
hey man, who you gonna call to come get a pit bull out of a gang's yard? A crazy white girl?
I had to start a second page for Lilith Hellfire Drop. She has so many.
And just to correct myself, it was called an Alan Smithy film, Burn Hollywood Burn, which was directed by Alan Smithy.
Alan Smithy.
Yeah. So subtle. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Here we go. When Peter was arrested for murder, Riley stepped in and took his place so that Peter could search for the real killer. However, his search comes to an abrupt end when he is suddenly ambushed by Kaine. The assassin was waiting for the wall crawler to come after him as he knew that Ben Reilly took his place in prison. The ambush sends them landing into a dance studio. There, Kaine.
Odd.
I know, it's just like a dance studio?
Yeah, it looks like a ballet studio taught by an aerobics instructor.
Yeah.
Well, hey, these two guys are getting physical.
Nice one.
But Kaine tried to put them in a corner, which was...
Oh, you never put Kaine in the corner.
Suck it, Lilith. Suck it, Lilith.
There, Kaine tries to explain that he was intending to frame Ben Reilly for the murder and never intended for Peter to take the fall for the murder. With a group of young dancers in danger, Spider-Man tries to knock Kaine out. Although this fails, he still manages to usher the young dancers out of the room. Although Kaine is immune to Peter's spider sense, the wall crawler is able to evade his next attack thanks to the mirrors that cover the walls of the dance studio.
Amazing. Who needs spider sense, eh?
Exactly. Spider-Man intends on beating Kaine into submission and then forcing him to confess his crimes. Just like Perry Mason, huh?
Yes.
Meanwhile, at the Manhattan City Courthouse, the case of the city of New York versus Peter Parker has just begun. As the judge, Sandra Franklin, makes her opening statements, Ben Reilly thinks about how his return threatened to ruin the life of Peter Parker, hence why he took his place in prison and now sits on trial in his place. After the judge is finished speaking, she turns the floor over to District Attorney Blake Tower.
Familiar name.
Yeah, he was in a lot of books, especially some Spider-Man books.
Well, and he was also in on Netflix as well.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, he was in comics for years,
Yeah.
Tower addresses the jury and tells them that he will prove that Peter Parker is a cold-blooded killer without a shadow of a doubt. His damning opening statement strikes a chord among those watching the trial, which includes Peter Parker's wife, Mary Jane, and her Aunt Anna.
Yeah, we get to see the other side of the family's aunt.
Well, May's dead. They kind of used Aunt Anna to replace Aunt May for a while there, especially after the Clone Saga.
The lesser version.
Damn it, comic book fans need aunts and aunts and uncles. We need something.
Exactly.
I know nowadays we just like de-age her.
Yeah.
Hearing all this, Ben really hopes that Peter will come through and find the evidence needed to clear his name. While back at the dance studio, Spider-Man continues his battle with Kaine. The killer refuses to do anything that will assist Ben Reilly, hoping that he is found guilty of the crimes that Peter Parker has been accused of.
Yeah, can I just interject here? Yeah. So, I mean, we know, having read all the 4 issues as well. So let me get this straight. Peter Parker's, Spider-Man's approach to this is to get Kaine and bring him over to the courtroom so he will admit to his, is it only me, or does that sound like a very, weak plan? I mean, what is Kaine going to do? Is okay, I'm going to come over. Yeah, I'll come over and I'll confess to all the murders.
I mean, I guess it's just desperation, though, too, because it's what else are you going to do?
Yeah, true. But, half the battle is getting him over there, but then you're going to have to get him to speak as well. But, anyway.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes, because
make it admissible evidence and go through a lawyer.
Well,
I don't know.
Like Ray said, knowing is half the battle. Spider-Man refuses to let Ben take the fall for a crime he committed and is willing to do whatever it takes to bring Kaine down and force him to confess. Not wanting to fight the wall crawler, Kaine is not against doing so if he must. I love, too, it's like Kaine wants to help Spider-Man for the reason we're about to find out in an issue or two here, but it's like, and then he's like, oh, no, I want Riley to go down for this crime. It's like, yeah, well, he's going to go down for this crime as Peter Parker. He might even get the chair for your lethal injection as Peter Parker. You're like, Spider-Man should be like, you're going to ruin my life, thanks.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
True.
I can't be Peter Parker anymore after this if, Ben Reilly gets killed.
Yeah.
And added to the fact, you mentioned as well, Phil, that he doesn't want to hurt Spider-Man, but all 3 of us will slowly see the next coming pages where he tries to pummel the hell out of Spider-Man. Anyway.
I'll save
Very
you.
True.
As Kaine overpowers the wall crawler, he is reminded that Kaine is much more powerful than him and wonders where Kaine comes from. Oh, Lord.
Foreshadowing.
Exactly.
4-parter shadowing.
He never wondered before. Now he's wondering, yeah. As he smashes Spider-Man's face into a nearby wall.
Smash it!
Kaine forces the web spinner to take a good look at his reflection. Kaine rants and raves about how everything he does for Peter Parker and that Ben Reilly does not deserve any consideration. Still, Spider-Man fights on, but Kaine soon grabs him by the throat. Kaine then warns Spider-Man that he is willing to cripple the wall crawler if it ensures that Ben Reilly will suffer. At that same moment, Jacob Raven has found himself in an unlikely alliance with the villain known as Stunner. The pair are staking out the courthouse. The pair are staking out the courthouse in the hopes that Kaine will attack, as they both want to bring him to justice. That's when Jacob picks up a radio report about Spider-Man's battle with Kaine and calls Stunner down from her post to inform her of this recent development. She agrees to accompany him and follows his plan. However, she secretly intends to kill Kaine on the spot.
Yeah. So hasn't Jacob Raven taken a turn, hasn't he? He really, he's gone down a dark hole. I don't think, I'm not fully convinced that he's teaming up with Stunner just to catch Kaine. I mean, come on. You know, she is what she is. Stunner. But she's very, like, if I can just say in the later panels as well, she's massive compared to him.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Anyway,
There's something about her body. And remember, kids, she wants to kill Kaine because he killed Dr. Octopus because
Octopus.
He'll never be back.
Yes. What is with her body as well? We just say that now?
They don't show it for a while, but I think we'll get to it eventually. She's plugged. She's somewhere plugged into like a VR machine. That whole body's like a virtual reality thing running around.
Oh, you told us before. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah.
Meanwhile, inside the courthouse, the trial turns to the defense to make their opening statement. Peter Parker's lawyer, Mr. Locker, addresses the jury, telling him that the prosecution's only evidence is circumstantial in nature. You know, fingerprints. He then tosses doubt to their claims and suggests that they find Peter Parker guilty. They're going to lock up an innocent man while the real killer remains free. Back at the dance hall, Spider-Man is faltering in battle when a police officer arrives on the scene and orders Kaine to surrender. As Spider-Man struggles to get back to his feet, Kaine is about to harm the officer. The wall crawler rescues the officer, forcing himself and Kaine out of a nearby window. That's what I was telling Lilith the other day. I'm like, man, those glass makers in the Marvel Universe got to be like millionaires.
Yeah, exactly.
They're raking in the big bucks. Yeah.
They land on the street just as Jacob Raven and Stunner arrive. Stunner orders Spider-Man to step aside because she wants to destroy Kaine. Spider-Man refuses to allow her as he needs Kaine to make his confession. As Stunner threatens to go through Spider-Man, the wall crawler notices someone or something teleporting onto the scene. Back at the courthouse, Mr. Locker finishes his opening statements. When he returns to his table, Ben is astonished when Locker admits that despite his impassioned speech, the evidence doesn't look good. That's when the judge asks the prosecution to call their first witness. Blake Tower shocks the entire courtroom when he calls on Mary Jane, Peter Parker's wife. Wow, at that... yeah, isn't that a thing? I mean, I don't know about down there, Ray, but in American law, Conan, it's like you can't make a wife
testify
against her spouse, can you? I didn't think you could.
I don't think so, but I could be wrong. I think that they kind of tackled this subject on The Sopranos once. I don't know. It could be a common misconception,
maybe,
but yeah.
I've watched a lot of Law and Order,
but he's a defense attorney, so you know, right?
Yeah.
So you'd think that he's calling her as a witness for character, not to. Even though he sort of reveals that he's got a bit of a heel turn, to use a wrestling parlance in this, to call her as a surprise to her and everybody witness. So
yeah, is that a thing? Like, I haven't been in many courtrooms and all that, but can you call surprise witnesses? Like, aren't they usually always prepared? Like, they know that they're going to be called up. Like, you can't just look.
If nothing else, you kind of want to call the people. So, I mean, you know, Mary Jane's going to be there, but you kind of want to let people know so they know to be there and stuff. Yeah. If nothing else,
exactly. Well, then they're going to seek legal advice as well. They don't want to say anything before consulting a lawyer. Anyway, we're getting into the nitty gritty.
True,
I guess, but yeah, that was interesting. What did you think of this courtroom drama? Like, I think it was kind of well played in the sense they try to make it very courtroomy.
Yeah, with the whispering and stuff that you always see, you know, with the dotted word bubbles. I thought it was all right. I was kind of wondering how they were going to do that over the course of 4 issues. But I mean, as we'll get into it, they sort of mix things up and
we kind of
spin the courtroom on its head a bit.
We kind of get another trial next issue. Yes.
Oh yeah, which, speaking of surprise witnesses, surprise lawyers.
Oh
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh,
Russell's awake. Good morning, Russell. It's the Spider Pimps of evil.
Yes. Well, he'll be very interested in the next issue. But,
Russell sent feedback for this. So at the end of this, I'll play Russell's feedback, and Russell, I will play your little quick message for Ray. So.
Oh, awesome.
Ooh, feedback just about Ray's feedback leaving. No.
Talk about surprise testimony.
That's weird. Yeah. Right. But Phil, what do you think of it? Like, I mean, was this courtroom stuff? Was this engaging for you?
It was interesting, but it's like, there's some of this stuff. It's like, there's no way this would go on in a real courtroom. But I guess it's the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And again, during the umbrella of the O.J. Simpson trial, which I've brought up on many episodes, it affects every element of pop culture at the time.
Talk about your sideshow, that trial.
Yeah.
All right, but yes, the issue finished up. While at that moment, Judas oh god,
here we go.
Jesus,
traveling via teleportation.
It's like a bad smell.
I know, exactly. At that moment, thank you, Ray. At that moment, Judas Traveller appears before Spider-Man and Kaine. Although the wall crawler has no time for this madman, Traveller insists that he needs both of them and teleports both Spider-Man and Kaine away to points unknown. Although we know it's Amazing 403.
Yeah.
All right, so what you guys think of this first one? Besides the courtroom trauma.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I jumped the gun there.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of it's setting the stage in what is a regular thing with Spider-Man title crossovers at this time. It could have been condensed to a non-four-parter, perhaps, if it wasn't just a big fight going back and forth with the court scene. But, you got to serve all the masters, so Web of Spider-Man kicks it off. The art was interesting. I didn't really... I know that I guess there's a story that you explained to why Stunner looks like a over-the-top video game character, or the pop-up ads for video games that say you can't play them for more than 5 seconds. But it was all right. It got us into it, and it'll take some twists and turns that are a little bit more interesting. But it set the stage. It's the trial of Peter Parker, and you see Spider-Man fight. You know what he's as odd as it may seem, with his intention to bring Kaine to court. That's what we get, and it's a pretty good fight with some sassy remarks and things like that. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. Oh my lord, we've been dropping the ball, Kona. Thank you, Russell. Lord, I was born a Judas traveling man.
God. He's getting into it as well. I thought exactly what Matt was saying. I think it was a great setup. We got like distinct little pockets of plots as well. Raven and Stunner, Spidey and Kaine, and then we have the courtroom drama. It's all setting it up. What is really interesting though is it's funny that, and as you say, Matt, it could be really condensed. We get in the second part a total kind of shift, and that's only thanks to a last panel appearance of the Traveller in part one, and then it just goes on something totally different. But I like the setup to this. I mean, I think it's marred by just all of these other ideas, like in part two, for instance. It would have served a lot better if part two kind of continued on, I think, from what we saw in the first issue. But yeah, I like the first issue. We see a lot more Kaine. I think there was a time there where we didn't have much Kaine appearance. Like he'd just be like up on the top of a building, just like lurking. So it's good to see him in full force. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's we're going to learn the identity of Kaine arc,
Yeah. So no, it's good.
But I mean, you're like you said, the issue 2 goes a completely different direction. But I mean, it's kind of nice that the 4 books kind of tie in because you get a book every week. But it's kind of hurts because like every book has like a different creative team, so it's
yeah.
We're gonna drag this trial out for 4 parts.
Yeah, it's sort of like the game where one person tells a story for a certain amount of time and stops, and the next person can just take it wherever they want, and whether they stare it back or whatever.
Hell, that's comics. That's comics.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Wait a second. What Russell say? The big blue machine, Kaine. No one will get that reference. Yeah, I don't think I get that reference.
Is it a heavy metal reference? I don't know.
Well, I don't think we get it, Russell.
Bubble a boo boo boo. That's it.
Wait, say it again.
Bubble a boo boo boo.
No. What the Kaine reference was?
The big blue machine.
Oh, the big red machine is a wrestler named Kaine with no eye.
Nice one.
Yeah, possible WWE Hall of Famer this year.
It's been at least 20 years. It's been at least 20 years.
I'm looking at it digitally, so I wasn't on the video screen with us, but I accept the reference. Boom. Well done.
Nice.
Keep them coming.
Can't get anything past us, Russell.
All right, so let's get to part 2, Amazing Spider-Man 403. Probably the best cover.
Your boy.
Mark Bagley. Yeah, written by J.M. DeMatteis.
Oh, yeah. It's good written. Good story as well.
Yeah, because... title, Judgment at Bedlam.
Good cover, yeah. I mean, you showed the picture on your phone, but love Carnage, and Carnage was always... I always associate him with the Amazing Spider-Man, because that's where he made his debut. Was it 363 or so? But I was a subscriber at that time when he came out. I traded the issue away for something way less valuable, probably. But unfortunately, as a dumb kid, whatever, and whatever I should say. Yeah. But whatever. But yeah, he features very prominently on the cover, and it looks cool. You even see Vermin in the jury.
Yeah, Shriek as well.
Carrion,
yeah. And, so what a turn from the first one. What? I didn't expect Carnage to pop up here.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a weird.
I didn't know that he passed the Barnage.
That's terrible.
Suck it, Conan.
All right, so... Kidnapped by Judas Traveller, Spider-Man finds himself before a mock court within Ravencroft Institute. As the staff watches helplessly in the stands, the jury is filled with inmates. Comprising this kangaroo court is Judas Traveller as the judge, Carnage as the prosecution, as well as Ashley Kafka and John Jameson in the defense. Among those watching the trial are Edward Wayland, Shriek, the Chameleon, and Kaine. Traveller tells the Wallcrawler that he is standing trial for his life and asks him how he will plead. Spider-Man doesn't know what's going on and demands answer. Spider-Man's like the rest of us and doesn't know what's going on.
Exactly, yeah.
And demands answers. All Judas will tell him is that if the web-slinger is sentenced to death, he will be sentenced to death if he is found guilty. Judas then begins the trial, stating that when he previously came to Ravencroft Institute, he learned that many of the inmates held a great deal of hatred toward the Wallcrawler.
Wow, what a common thread. Can you believe that?
Judas wishes to learn if these inmates only exist because there is a Spider-Man, and if his death would put an end to their insanity as well. How about no? Hey, would Spider-Man's death stop these villains?
How about no?
The speech gets cheers from the lunatics in the jury. Traveller explains that while Carnage has been assigned to the prosecution, Kaine has been selected to work in the Wallcrawler's defense. Forcing his will upon Spider-Man, he then demands that the Wallcrawler enter a plea to the court. Russell, Carrion is there. Carnage is his third favorite villain. Have his first appearance. So do I. I don't think he's in great shape. But yeah, see, all of us either had his first appearance or sold it for magic beans.
Or magic cards, perhaps.
I still got mine, though. Have you got yours, Phil?
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's in the best. It's not in mint condition, but yeah, I have it.
Okay, yeah.
I think I traded it for like an X-Force or something. I don't know. I forget. But.
Man, I don't like these books with the good drawn feet, man.
Yeah. Carnage had very nice feet.
Yeah. Thought you traded them for some Teen Beat magazines.
Yeah. My pen pal duped me. Yeah.
So get that joke. Go check out Matt's last appearance on Into the Night. Before Spider-Man can answer, Kaine leaps from the defense table and tries to attack Judas. He demands to know where Judas comes from. Judas comes from, judging a hero like Spider-Man. I was waiting for him to say, "Where do you come from?" And Judas be like, "Why don't you tell people where you come from?" However, when he tries to give Traveller the mark of Kaine, it doesn't work.
Oh, he's just so strong.
Grabbing Kaine by the hand, Traveller demonstrates a show of power by growing in size and threatens to kill him. When Kaine expresses his desire to do whatever it takes to stop Judas Traveller for Spider-Man, reality snaps back to normal. Kaine is back behind the defense table as though he never tried to attack Judas to begin with. Traveller explains that his desire to fight for Spider-Man is the exact reason why he has chosen Kaine to be Spider-Man's defense attorney. When Judas warns Kaine against future outbursts, the assassin agrees to comply. When Traveller turns the floor over to Carnage, the symbiotic serial killer calls himself as the first witness.
Oh, this is hilarity ensues here.
I know. But meanwhile, this is not the only trial going on this day, as today is the trial of Peter Parker, who's been accused of murder. However, Peter Parker is not on the stand, obviously, but his clone, Ben Reilly. On the witness stand is Peter Parker's wife, Mary Jane Watson. She's being questioned by Blake Tower, the district attorney of New York. He wants to know where her husband was at the time of the murders. Although she notes that he is a photojournalist, he was not on assignment at the time of the murder. Tower suggests that this killing was actually personal business and demands to know where her husband was at the time. Mary Jane knows what happened, as at the time, Peter was buried alive by Kraven the Hunter, but can't tell the court this. So, yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, just coincidentally, this murder took place at the time of Kraven's last hunt. So,
yeah. She can't reveal anything.
Oh, Lord. Russell. In my head canon, Judas is the Spectre crossing over into the multiverse. It's not even that good. Yeah, at the end of the Clone Saga there, it's just like, I think it's Tom DeFalco's like, oh no, he just has a bunch of weird mental powers. He can make people see stuff. It's like, okay.
Yeah, Judas Traveller. Oh gosh. Yeah. Someone should bring him back, but you know, just for laughs.
Like I said, I think he was a big, you know, J.M. DeMatteis was like pretty much mostly responsible for him. So it's like, if we could get some DeMatteis back, maybe. You know, on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Explain where Traveller left, because he just like leaves at his last appearance and you never see him again.
Untold story. Yeah.
He's traveling somewhere.
Well, that's it. That's why he's a traveller.
Oh, that's true. You can't capture the traveling man, can you? Oh, that reminds me. Pretty soon here I'm gonna have to record the Quantum Man's lines.
Oh yeah.
Man, we're just like throwing out those into the night plugs.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, he was buried alive. Can't tell the court. When she can't answer Tower's question, she is dismissed from the witness stand. She returns to the gallery where she tells her Aunt Anna that she feels that she did more bad than good. Anna tells her not to worry, assuring her that the truth will come out. I know she doesn't want to lie on the stand, but couldn't she just be like, he wasn't in Salt Lake City. He was in New York. He was buried in his work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Back at Ravencroft, Kaine has another precognitive flash of Mary Jane getting killed. Oh, we're getting closer to that. However, this is ignored by the mock trial as Carnage begins his testimony. Carnage accuses Spider-Man of his creation, saying to the court that it was the wall crawler who brought the first symbiote to Earth. After his testimony, Carnage opens himself up for cross-examination from Kaine. Kaine points out that Cassidy was a serial killer prior to becoming Carnage. When the lunatic denies this, Kaine lashes out with the touch of Kaine.
That's so cool.
This hurts Carnage, and the two come to blows until Judas Traveller has had enough with this disruption and uses his powers to stop them from fighting. Traveller warns them against such a disruption again and orders Carnage to call his next witness.
Yes.
Oh, yes. So I know we've been plugging enough ITK Russell. Yes, he said Into the Gnort, the Dog Lantern podcast.
Oh, yeah. It's very inside baseball.
Next, Carnage calls Malcolm McBride to the stand to testify against Spider-Man. Ashley Kafka is concerned about this because Malcolm has been in a fragile mental state since he was cured of the Kaine virus.
Poor Malcolm.
I know. However, despite these concerns, John Jameson points out that there is nothing they can do. Carnage berates Malcolm, getting him to admit that it was his own jealousy that led to the creation of Carrion, and that is jealousy towards his classmate Peter Parker. I don't like where this is going. With this, Carnage rips off Spider-Man's mask, revealing that he is Peter Parker. Carnage then goes through a litany of those who died because of Peter Parker. Lastly, he suggests that Peter's life as Spider-Man also caused the death of his Aunt May as well.
Oh, below the belt. Below the belt there.
At this last accusation, Peter Parker has had enough and loses his temper, accusing Carnage of twisting his life into something that it isn't. Peter breaks free from his bonds. Spider-Man refuses to surrender, pointing out that this is yet another effort to break him down. He refuses to allow this mock trial to continue as he needs to get Kaine to the courthouse and prove Peter Parker's innocence. While Judas finds this is a beautiful speech, he orders the jury to make a verdict. The jury finds him guilty and sentences him to death. As they rush at the wall crawler, both Malcolm McBride and Edward Whalen are forced to transform into carrion and vermin and join the frenzied mob. Meanwhile, elsewhere, in Manhattan, Detective Jacob Raven and Stunner continue their hunt for Kaine. Unable to find their quarry, Stunner begins to lose her temper, but Raven manages to calm her down because he knows exactly what she has lost. Although
did she change her costume between now and last issue?
I mean, I think it's just like an artist thing, but she could have, because like again, that whole body's VR generated, so she could have.
Yeah, I mean, but we don't know that yet, right?
No, no.
Yeah.
I think it's just like an artist thing, maybe not communicating. Yeah.
You know who her costume reminds me of? Who's that? The guy, the tarantula.
Oh, yeah.
Like the tarantula costume.
Yeah,
I don't know.
She just needs a big moustache.
Oh. They're going to say another wrestler.
Repo Man.
We need
she's got some Legion of Doom spikes to her. Her costume looks sort of like the wrestler Kaine's costume. Not to get back to that, but yeah.
Well, dare I say, from Russell, we need a Stunner Marvel Legends figure.
Oh,
no, but definitely Carrion. I'm with you there, Russell, and Kaine as well.
Let's get that Quasar in here already.
Oh, yes. When's that coming out?
I don't know. I don't think they've announced the date yet. Like,
I'm getting that one. Got to get that one.
Got to catch up. Catch him, huh, Ray?
What?
Got to catch him.
You got to catch him. Yeah.
Although she calms down, Stunner has to go and promises Jacob that she will be back, and suddenly fades away.
Look how big she is compared to him.
I know. It's like I think she can make that body pretty much look what she wants. I don't know why she looks so big like that.
Yeah. Look how big it is.
While back at Ravencroft, Spider-Man has been restrained again. After hearing the jury, Judas Traveller has no choice but to find the wall crawler guilty and sentence him to death, and invites.
They're giving him a mouth mask as well.
I know. It's
like
Hannibal Lecter,
Peter.
Hannibal Lecter, the silence of the spiders.
And invites the jury to carry out the execution. With Carnage leading them, the other inmates rush at Spider-Man, intent on killing him. Kaine leaps in to aid Spider-Man, but despite his efforts, the pair is swarmed by the inmates. Suddenly, the attack ends, and Judas Traveller explains that he sent all the inmates back to their cells and that Kaine is still alive.
Oh.
Judas
I think that when Kaine rushes in and yells no, he should be yelling objection. But that's just like, come on.
Yes. Stay professional, Kaine. Come on.
Finish him.
May I approach the bench clearing brawl?
That's it.
Yeah, that can't. Judas explains that after their experience through space-time, which I didn't subject you guys to, he has detected a sense of nobility in Spider-Man that surprised him. Seeing how Kaine was willing to sacrifice himself for the sake of Spider-Man, Judas has decided that Peter deserves further observation and teleports away without further explanation. Spider-Man then finds himself and Kaine back in Manhattan. There, as Kaine recovers, he is grabbed by Stunner, who is determined to avenge the death of Dr. Octopus. Spider-Man pleads with her to spare Kaine's life, but it appears his words are falling on deaf ears. Meanwhile, back at Ravencroft, Carnage sits in his cell, gloating over the fact that he knows Spider-Man's secret identity. That's when Judas Traveller appears in his cell and tells Cassidy that what he has given he can take away, and painfully erases the memory of Spider-Man's secret identity from Carnage's mind. I mean, I guess he kind of had to do that because the minute Carnage broke out, it'd be like, Mary Jane.
Oh, well, he's writing. What's all these Peter names on the wall? He's yeah.
I would assume Traveller erased the wall because it'd be like, I see Carnage. Why is he writing PDO?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but Traveller, come on, what is going on with this guy? I did that. So I found the I don't know. I found the payoff a bit weird. The whole trial and everything was just to understand Peter, and like, you're exonerated because you show nobility. It's like, really? Come on.
Yeah.
Like, again, we were killing time, but it's like enigmatic Judas Traveller.
Yeah.
Russell was Judas, a member of the Men in Black, now erasing them. No, it's going to be revealed. He just has weird mental abilities.
Yeah, he does. Strange. I'm just looking at a picture of him. Cassidy, again, Bagley's art is brilliant, I gotta say. Really enjoy. If anything to take away from this one, it's Bagley's art. Spider-Man Carnage looks awesome in this. Still kind of the best Carnage, I reckon. But it was fun to see Carrion there. I would have loved seeing a little bit more of Carrion and Vermin, but I like how they were used and how they're kind of innocent as well. But yeah. Which would you prefer so far, parts 1 or 2?
I kind of like the chaos of part 2 so far, and the artwork, and I like the way Star looks a little bit better in this one. It takes some more turns. There's a little bit more. They set a. I don't want to say they set a slow pace in the first one because they had to plant some seeds, but things are getting a little crazy, albeit almost out of nowhere in some regard. And I always like it when you have surprise appearances by villains, even if they don't play a massive part in it. It's nice to have them there because it kind of, that's cool. You get a little shriek, a little vermin. Right. But,
little Carrion, yeah.
So far, so good, but it's, where do you go from here? There's 2 more parts. I mean, I know maybe it'll focus more on the Peter Parker element of the trial, but
yeah, because there really was only that kind of interchange between Tower and Mary Jane for the courtroom drama for this. So, there was a lot of setup from the first part, and then it goes into this whole, as you say, kangaroo court kind of mock trial. But yeah, again, I'll go back to the art. There are a couple of really good ones there of Stunner, but there's one where Peter, he breaks the shackles. I reckon that's probably my favourite, splash page. It's like 3/4 of the page. Yeah, really good there. But yeah, how about you, Phil?
I mean, I enjoyed both issues. They're wacky, but I think I like this one a little bit better, of course, because of the art, and we get the inmates of Arkham. I mean, Ravencroft.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit put off by Traveller. I just don't know what to make of that character. But
yeah, I think that's why they made him vanish pretty quickly. I don't know if all the fans were just like. And again, I think once JMD Benteas left, everyone was like, I don't know about this character.
Yeah, exactly. So,
got some comments from Russell. Carrion, my wayward son.
Carrion.
And Ray must feel right at home in a kangaroo court.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Drop bear court, even better.
Or as they call it in Australia, court.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just court.
Suck it, Lilith.
All right. Let's get to Spider-Man number 60, part 3. Look at that cover. The face of Kaine.
Gotta laugh at that cover. Look at Kane's butt. Look at Kane's butt.
Look at me.
Exactly.
Again, these are all July 1995. This one, writer Howard Mackey, or buddy Howard Mackey.
Oh, yeah.
Penciler Tom Lau. So Mackey got to reveal the identity of Kaine. Ooh. Ooh. Having tracked down Kaine, Stunner overpowers him and intends to kill him in order to avenge the death of her beloved Dr. Octopus. Since Spider-Man was attempting to bring Kaine to justice to clear Peter Parker of a murder charge, he tries to get between the two. Stunner is furious that Spider-Man is interfering, especially after Dr. Octopus saved his life, and strikes him away. As the pair struggle, Kaine attempts to put his hand on Stunner's face and give her the mark of Kaine. Unfortunately, Spider-Man recovers and splits the two apart again. Spider-Man tries to convince Kaine to come with him, explaining that he is needed to clear his name. However, Kaine isn't interested and tells the wall crawler to go back to his wife and unborn child and leave Ben Reilly to rot in prison. Stunner slams Kaine into an abandoned building where the two start to fight. Their fight compromises the structural integrity of the building. Although Spider-Man tries to pull Stunner out, Kaine drags the wall crawler before he can. Pulling free, Spider-Man goes digging through the rubble for Stunner. When he finds her, the wall crawler is shocked when she suddenly vanishes.
Just as a leg flopped out.
Yeah.
So you just see the one leg, so she has a leg up in this fight. Yeah. Kaine tries to use his opportunity to escape, but Spider-Man goes after him. Kaine warns Spider-Man that he is far stronger than the hero, and he will defeat him in an all-out fight. Spider-Man agrees, but manages to knock Kaine out with an unexpected sucker punch and webs him up. Meanwhile, at the courthouse, District Attorney Blake Towers concluding his final arguments. Watching these proceedings is Mary Jane, who is showing her support even though nobody knows that the man on trial is actually Ben Reilly, Peter's clone. Tower insists that Peter Parker is guilty and demands that the judge give the maximum sentence.
Bloody hell, eh?
Make an example. While outside, Spider-Man tries to drag Kaine into the courtroom to force him to confess to the murders that Peter Parker has been accused of. Unfortunately, Kaine breaks free and tries to fight himself free. News of the battle quickly reaches the courtroom, much to the show of Mary Jane and Ben Reilly. Also hearing this is Jacob Raven, who pulls out his gun, hoping that Spider-Man finally captures Kaine. Meanwhile, Spider-Man and Kane's battle takes them into a vacant courtroom where the pair battle it out. Kaine is furious that Spider-Man would assume that he knows nothing about suffering. Kaine decides that fighting off the wall crawler isn't enough, that he needs to show him the truth. Kaine, here we go, Kaine. Kaine then takes off his mask, revealing the horribly scarred face of Peter Parker.
Oh, no! Who would have thought?
Kaine then explains that he is not just a clone of Peter Parker, but Miles Warren's first attempt at cloning him. He explains that he is suffering from the same degeneration factor that plagues Warren's other clones. However, even though the Jackal tried to kill him, Kaine turned out to be much stronger than the real Spider-Man and managed to escape. He explains that he vowed to watch over Peter's life to make sure that it turned out happy and that nobody would ever interfere in it. It is why he spent years hunting down Ben Reilly and later framing him for murder.
It's all explained now.
Now, I just want to say that because he's a scarred version of the Peter Parker clone, yeah, I guess you could call him a rough draft. Take that, Kaine.
Suck it, Conan.
Suck it, Kaine. Also, this is what I want to say. We got past the cover a long time ago, and it's hard to get past the butt of Kaine, but or the crack of Kaine. But I feel like there's been so many issues already that depict both Scarlet Spider and Spider-Man together on the cover when they're not fighting side by side in the issue. And that when people are just not buying it. I mean, they're probably buying the issues. They're popular, but what? I don't know. So weird.
Yeah. No, true. I mean, maybe they can get away with it by, well, actually, having said that, Spider-Man's in his spider suit now, but you know how it was in his Scarlet Spider suit before? And no, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, it's just free license with the covers. But yeah, it is disappointing because you want to see a nice team up. But like, I don't know, back in the day when this was released, were people speculating about Kaine being a Peter Parker clone already? I mean, it seems obvious now, but that's only because we read the what was it, the Lost Years before, which pretty much spelled it out. But before that was released, was this a big mystery that Kaine?
Mean, I guess no, you didn't know who he was. I mean, I wasn't talking to a lot of people about this, but I mean, I know when they revealed it, I was like, oh, okay, it kind of makes sense.
It wasn't shock horror. I was like, oh, all right.
Although it's like, I don't know, for 5 years, Ben Reilly didn't know who Kaine was. I'm like, wouldn't you be like, I mean, look at that cover. Wouldn't you be like, that's my ass?
That's America's
yeah, exactly.
Ass. That's Salt Lake City's ass.
Still, Spider-Man refuses to let Ben Reilly go down for a crime he did not commit because, he's going to ruin his life, and is willing to reveal his true identity in order to prove him innocent. The wall crawler storms into the courtroom and is about to remove his mask in front of everyone gathered. Kaine, not wishing Peter to throw his life away, stops him by demanding that he has a confession to make. Blake Tower is outraged by this interruption and demands that the judge have Kaine and Spider-Man arrested until they can complete the trial. However, Kaine isn't fazed by the district attorney's demands and slams his head onto a nearby table. He then threatens to snap Blake's neck if they do not listen to him. Kaine then admits to the murder of Jacob Raven's partner, and to prove it, he uses his mark of Kaine to burn a handprint into the table that matches the marks left on all of his victims. Despite this, Kaine refuses to allow himself to be arrested. Fighting off the police officers on the scene, he then decides to make himself Ben Reilly's executioner and lunges at him, ready to kill the man he has haunted for years.
Yeah.
This is some trial, man.
Yeah.
It was exciting. I thought it was. I really enjoyed it. I thought you kind of, those two stories, the two plots kind of finally collide. And look, Spider-Man is either very lucky or just an absolute genius in that he brings Kaine over, and by getting put into a corner and saying, look, I'm going to have to just reveal my identity, he kind of forces the hand of Kaine to go, no, look, I'll confess. That is some master manipulation there. or what it is that it's a show of nobility, which is, I think, is what it's meant to be, to show how good Spider-Man is. But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
What you think, Matt?
I sort of echo the same sentiments. I'm trying to put myself in the place of a reader at the time, and it was probably a surprise, I guess, kind of like a fun one. It's weird that, I don't know, Kaine is very protective of Spider-Man all of a sudden, or was when he was his legal counsel in the previous issue.
Yeah.
But they could still have a good slugfest, I guess, because they have comparable powers or what have you. But it was fun.
The art was really good for me. The art sold it for me as well, Tom Lyle. So I thought it was very solid. Again, if we can compare issues, I'd say I'd like this one then so far out of the top three.
Oh.
The first three.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What, your favorite?
It's also in the top three that we've read so far.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no. Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I felt the action flowed. I think it integrated the stories a lot more together. Well, it certainly did. And yeah, things are starting to kind of collide, So I think that was good. And, yeah, Kaine looks really good. Like, Lyle draws a really wicked Kaine, I reckon. Just his costume, it's a lot more spikier than other artists have, like, drawn it. He even as well, you see him just quickly, he has, like, almost like Wolverine claws. He has 2 Wolverine claws, which he uses against Stunner earlier on. So he can, almost like he protrudes these kind of claws out of his suit.
And I think it's the costume, because I don't think his body does that, like any of the spikes or claws. Yeah, so it must be the suit.
Where did he get this suit from?
I don't think they ever said, but I swear there was some kind of background thing. I forget where they said. I thought there was supposed to be some kind of containment suit to keep the degeneration slow it down. Right. But yeah, I don't think they ever really explained that in the story. It's just like he shows up, he has his suit. Keeps him from degenerating. It's so tight he can't melt.
Yeah.
All right, we ready for the last issue?
The closing arguments. Yeah.
Not only the end of the trial, but as the cover tells you, at last the one true Spider-Man revealed.
This is a big one.
Is it Kaine?
Is it Kaine? Oh my god! Can you imagine?
Also, I didn't make this joke at the beginning of the recap for the previous issue, but when he's trying to bring all these charges on Peter Parker, when you throw the book at the spider, it makes a big impact or a splat.
That's it.
Yeah.
Gonskis. My money's on Judas Traveller as a real Peter Parker. Let's see what happens.
Ooh, Buddhist Traveller.
Oh. All right. Last one is Spectacular Spider-Man 226. Again, July 95. We got Tom DeFalco, writer, penciler, Sal Buscema. So you know someone's getting that right, Cross.
Yeah, exactly.
Anchor Bill Sienkiewicz.
Oh, the master.
Yeah, this is an all-star cast so far. Top 3 billing, at least.
Bill Sienkiewicz.
Clem Robbins, letters.
Oh,
yeah.
Matt, come on. Clem Robbins, master of the field.
I always like to say Sienkiewicz because, Moon Knight royalty there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But, of course, final issue, the title, The Final Verdict. Peter Parker's murder trial has just been crashed by Kaine, who knows that Ben Reilly took Peter's place and has come to kill him. Ben wonders how he can stop Kaine without revealing his powers and compromising Peter Parker's double identity. This worry is taken out of his hands when Spider-Man arrives to stop Kaine.
Yay!
I was going to say, I know the trial's a big pain in the butt, but it's like, if nothing else, this kind of helps hide his secret identity, because hey, there's a whole courtroom of people who see Spider-Man and Peter Parker in the same place at this point. Yeah,
that's what I thought as well. Towards the end as well, that you see that.
If the Clone Saga has any redeeming value, it's hiding that secret identity. Ben wonders. This worry is taken out of his hands when Spider-Man arrives to stop Kaine. Still, when Ben tries to slip away and change into the Scarlet Spider, he is stopped by Mary Jane. She knows the look in his eyes and tells him not to blow her husband's chance at freedom. That's when the courtroom guards enter the room and try to restrain Kaine. However, he easily fights them off as he is much stronger than they are.
There you go. There's a Buscema. There's about four of the Buscema mouth open, flying away.
Spider-Man manages to bowl Kaine over with a single punch. This puts him into the gun sights of Detective Jacob Raven. Raven tells Kaine to surrender or he'll shoot. Surrounded and outgunned, he surrenders. However, Kaine is unfazed by this, vowing to break out of custody later. Ben and Mary Jane then congratulate Spider-Man for helping catch Kaine. Peter Parker is cleared of all charges, and when the news reaches the Daily Bugle, the staff celebrates. Everyone except J. Jonah Jameson, who tells everyone to get back to work. However, when Jameson is alone in his office, he allows himself to celebrate Peter's exoneration. The news also...
Did he light up a celebratory cigar to go along with the cigar he already had this month?
Couple of them.
The news also reaches the secret lab of the Jackal. Hey, remember him? Watching this is the man who thinks he's the real Peter Parker, that third clone. Well, maybe fourth. I don't know.
Yeah, wasn't this? I assumed that this was the one that was defeated in the sewers, right?
That's Freak Face. Yeah.
Yeah, Freak Face. Yeah.
This Parker is itching to get revenge against both Spider-Man and the Scarlet Spider. The Jackal assures him that the time will come soon, as he has almost finished making alterations to his carrion virus, which we'll get to in our next story arc.
Ooh.
Maximum clonage. While at the police station, Kaine confesses to all the murders he committed.
He's so compliant now.
Predicted.
I mean,
wow.
Don't they want like a real name, or like, hey, at least take off that mask? Although I guess he's deformed enough you wouldn't put two and two together. I don't know.
Yeah.
DNA something. I don't know. Watching this on the other side of the one-sided glass, finally hearing Kaine admit to killing his partner in Salt Lake City 3 years previous is Jacob Raven.
So this is a big thing, right? This closes out his arc.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
It, yeah.
I mean, I think he makes a quick appearance in Scarlet Spider Unlimited, which we'll get to number 1. So.
Oh, okay. But his main...
most of his stuff is done. Yeah.
Mission is, yeah.
While at the same time, Seward Trainer has finished going over the data he got from examining Peter and Mary Jane's unborn baby. He is concerned about how this data is going to impact the lives of Peter Parker and Ben Reilly. Meanwhile, Ben Reilly, still posing as Peter Parker, returns to the Parker brownstone with Mary Jane. They are that is so weird. Like, I mean, I know they're happy, but he starts like hugging Mary Jane, and
he does get a bit intimate there.
Yeah,
it's not cheating if it's your clone. They are joined inside by Peter.
If you're familiar with the mid-90s movie Multiplicity, I think that happens in that.
They are joined by Peter, who came in through the skylight as Spider-Man. With Jacob Raven off Ben's trail, Ben can finally start a new life. However, Ben isn't sure what to do next, as this is the first time he has not been on the run. That's when they get a call from Seward Trainer asking Ben and the Parkers to come to his lab right away. At that moment, Kaine is being led away by the authorities. Suddenly, he has another precognitive flash of Mary Jane getting murdered and wonders who the killer might be.
Does he only have the one precog vision of Mary Jane?
I mean, it seems like lately that's the only thing. Yeah, I know. That spider sense is very specific.
Like, maybe it would have been cool if he had precog of the courtroom fight, so he can kind of plan his move. And so that's why it explains why he kind of complies so easily. That would have been cool. Been like, okay, well, he knew this was going to happen. So
that's
anyway.
That's what they should have did. Not even that he was so much stronger. Just be like, he can like win almost any battle because he can see what's coming. Yeah. Yes, Russell. Here's where the train derails. Yes.
Over here, just here.
Yeah, he has a precognitive flash. Then, excuse me. Peter feels uneasy that Ben has been so open with his secret identity to someone he hardly knows, meaning Seward Trainer. Seward is surprised to see how much they resemble each other. They're clones. Why is he like, oh, you look so much alike?
You look so much alike.
He was grown from my DNA. Oh.
Yeah.
I think a scientist would know that. He tells the Parkers that his tests on their baby are done and that the baby is going to be healthy. He then explains that the strange readings were due to genetic shift. I believe they say genetic drift in the issue, pointing out that he discovered that the man they always thought was Peter Parker was a clone and that Ben Reilly is the original.
Oh my god.
What?
Peter becomes angry, refusing to believe this, accusing Ben of trying to steal his life, pointing out that Seward is in league with him. However, Seward insists that his tests are accurate, offering Peter and Ben to use his equipment to verify his finding. After hours of work, Peter and Ben come to the same conclusion that Seward Trainer did. that. There's even that big splash page. Peter,
I love that
I know how to
montage.
tell you. Yeah. You're the clone. I'm the original.
Oh, yeah.
Upon this discovery, Ben apologizes to Peter for this revelation. However, Peter refuses to believe it and attacks Ben, accusing him of trying to steal his life. Ben is also upset, pointing out that Peter stole his and lived it for the past 5 years. Ultimately, Peter overpowers Ben and begins choking him with a pipe.
Yikes.
Dear me.
Mary Jane.
Someone's.
Mary Jane pushes past to her trainer and tries to get her husband to stop, telling him that he might kill Ben. Without thinking, Peter knocks his wife aside, sending her crashing into a wall.
Peter.
A real man wouldn't do that.
Exactly.
Only a clone would.
Don't.
Exactly.
Don't.
Ooh.
Oh.
That's it.
A clone or a Hank Pym.
Oh, God. Terrible.
Realizing what he has done, Peter storms out the door. At that moment, the Jackal has perfected his new version of the carrion virus and is ready to get started. He then gives his Peter Parker a newly designed costume, telling him that once he has replaced the world with clones, he will be the one and only Spider-Man.
Damn.
God.
All right.
The costume doesn't look very good from him just holding it up.
He may be good with carrion viruses, but Taylor, he ain't, you know?
No.
So we're getting everybody next time, yeah, because like I said, Clonage, Ben, Peter, the Jackal, Spider-Side. The Punisher shows up for one issue.
Yes, where has he been?
And
he would have cleaned up this mess in like one issue.
Yes, and it's the 90s, so guess who else shows up? The New Warriors.
Yes,
of course.
Awesome. Nice
speedball in there.
Bit of speedball. Bit of Namorita.
Oh, I don't know if she's on the team at this point. It's like,
oh, okay, she's gone.
We'll see. I know Justice and Firestar on there. There's, I think Speedball's there too, but they're...
Yeah.
All right, so thoughts on this issue? I don't know if anyone has thoughts on this issue.
Well, it was a big one, though, right? It had the big thing at the end, the big reveal that... and, you know, this Peter Parker in the brown jacket, he's not doing himself any favours by going a bit nutso and attacking Ben Reilly. But I guess we're led to believe that with those actions, the real Peter can't do that. So Ben Reilly must be Peter Parker. You know what I mean? So they're taking us for a bit of a spin. Good to see the Jackal there. Sewer Trainer. I find him as interesting as Judas Traveller.
They are in the same vein for sure.
They are, yeah. But he served a purpose. So I guess what was cool to know, like in the space of those 2 pages, was that their child is unaffected, but this big news that it was, you know, from a clone, it's quite shocking. Jackal, he's here again. It's good. I'm interested in the Carrion virus. I really like Carrion as a villain. So interesting to see that. But yeah, I think the art was cool as well. Very different, I know. But I did like the Sienkiewicz kind of inks. There are some really good use of lighting. Like there's where J. Jonah Jameson at the bottom corner, he goes hoo-ha. I like the use of the light there. And also the other things when Peter Parker jumps through the skylight and meets up with Ben Reilly and Mary Jane, that one. One's with the Jackal as well. But also what Sienkiewicz, I think, does really well with Buscema is the horror, like, kind of look, the manic faces. So towards the end there where after Peter smacks Mary Jane, again, that red kind of lighting, almost like Bruce Banner, going a bit crazy. But yeah, it was okay. How about yourself, Matt?
Yeah, I knew having it sort of spoiled and not really spoiled because this came out in the mid 90s, but having knowledge of where this goes, it took a little bit of the surprise, but it is very uncharacter like or out of character for the. I know it was probably an accident for Peter to hit Mary Jane, and just the way that he freaks out about Ben. He doesn't just like say like, listen, we can are you sure? Can we talk this up?
Yeah.
Especially after all that had gone on in the previous 3 parts, maybe the tension of the trial and the constant, both trials, I should say, and battling with Kaine kind of threw him for a loop mentally and dealing with all this stress, probably the pressure of having Mary Jane's aunt around. I think that's what that can't be stated enough. But yeah, I don't know. I think it wasn't my favorite of the 4 parts, even though it kind of took the story to a close and opened up this next, was it a 6-part story, Maximum Clonage? Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it was okay. I preferred the other 3 issues to this one, but I don't remember much of Maximum Clonage, so I am looking forward to getting into that. So
I think, like, also as well, since we've been covering a lot of the Clone Saga, like, throughout this show, there was also for me like a level of kind of locking into kind of what to expect, like the flavor of these issues. So I don't know, maybe it's just a bit more kind of sympathetic towards these issues than at the beginning, you know, like, so I just remember reading these parts and reading part 4 and going, okay, yep, this is very kind of consistent with what we've read before, a few twists and turns, the way that it was written, the way that it was all structured. So yeah, that kind of helped in a sense a little.
Yeah, I mean, again, we know eventually Peter's the original, but yeah, it's revealed at the end the mastermind behind this whole thing has gotten the Seward trainer, and, you know, Seward basically messed with his machinery to give it, you know, to flip the results. So
right, yeah.
And so the mastermind, you know, has Seward trainer in his pocket, and he's tricked the Jackal into thinking Ben Reilly is the original Peter Parker.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So yeah, as far as the Jackal knows, yeah, this is all true.
Yeah. But I mean, this last issue as well, Phil.
I mean, like I said, I've said it before. I don't like on some of these issues. I thought some of the Sienkiewicz inks were too dark on Sal Buscema's art.
Yep.
But I kind of liked it in this issue, especially with that big revelation at the end. There was like a dark moment, and I kind of like that dark tone in the art.
Yeah. It's weird because you think that this kind of tone of art where it would be well suited, and yeah, this last part I think would be suited. Maybe in part 2, like maybe if Sienkiewicz did that with the villains and stuff. But yeah, it certainly has a lot more of a darker, grimmer flavor to it than the others. And yeah, as you mentioned as well before, Phil, I guess the varying styles as you read these 4 parts could be a little disconcerting, especially, like, you know, if you have your favorite, but I think it was solid enough. And again, it's because we've covered this before and we've seen this Buscema Sienkiewicz art in previous arcs that it wasn't too kind of gnawing at me.
But again, different art styles, different writers. Yeah, some of these books kind of, it seems like the story kind of bounces all over the place. But
yeah, I like the J.M. DeMatteis one, and I like the Howard Mackie. I thought they good. Even the Tom DeFalco. I mean, yeah. I mean, they were pretty solid. They were good. They just kind of, just the whole premise is just a little all over the place. But yeah, it's fun. Fun.
I wonder if anyone said something to J.M. DeMatteis. It's like, oh yeah, you're gonna have part 2, so it's like, you know, we're gonna reveal Kaine's identity in 3. The trial's gonna wrap up in 4. You know, can you kill some time in part 2? So I wonder if that's why we did the Ravencroft.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he certainly did that well. I mean, as standalone issue goes, it's funny because it's part of a 4-parter, but it actually works really well as a standalone.
I mean, it kind of works with the theme too. You know, trial of Peter Parker. Hey, let's put Spider-Man on trial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, don't know what to expect with Maximum Clonage. Have you read that, Matt?
I didn't read it. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say 6 parts. There's an alpha and an omega. Starts in alpha, ends in omega, and then the 4 monthly books are in the middle. So
wow,
okay,
that'll be fun. Just don't know what to expect. So.
and we're not going to cover it, but if anyone wants to do any extra homework, there's a prologue in New Warrior 61. So
okay. Any excuse to read New Warriors, Phil? You know that?
Yeah, it's basically New Warriors versus Spider Side. So
lovely.
All right. So any other thoughts on? Oh, I was gonna say any other thoughts on these before we get to our feedback.
No, let's hear it. I mean, I have none, Ray.
Yeah, no. I think we pretty much covered it. Keen to hear what Russell had to say.
Oh yeah. All right. So yes, kids, this is our new friend Russell from the Tomes of Evil, giving us his thoughts on the trial of Peter Parker. This is weird for you, Ray, sitting here listening to the feedback. On the other side.
I was just about to say, like, Matt, if you have any really good villains, you should give it a go. It's really fun. I've done one with Russell, and I think Phil, you've set up some stuff.
Oh, I'm doing a double, man.
Yeah, you're doing a double. Yeah. I think I know one of them, which is pretty cool. Yeah, but yeah, Matt, it's really cool. Yeah, you should do Maelstrom. Yes,
I think Will might have Maelstrom.
Yeah, that's definitely.
I think he's already penciled in. Yeah, I think Will's doing Maelstrom.
Okay, cool.
I'm trying to.
You can do Traveller.
I'll try to. Yeah, Judas Traveller. We need to talk more about him. I'll think about it.
Kona the Angler.
The Angler.
What can be said that hasn't already?
We'll cover the 2 issues he's appeared in.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, let's hear what Russell had to say about these issues.
Hey there, spider pimps. It's Russell from Tomes of Evil, and I'm here to give my feedback on the trial of Peter Parker. Wow. This one's a little nutty. It's a little bonkers. Don't quite know where to begin. Feel like Tom DeFalco was really into the movie A Time to Kill time, because that first issue feels a lot like that movie, except with Spider-Man fighting a crazed maniac elsewhere. The second issue, the trial, the Traveller's trial, was pretty interesting. And I real quick wanted to mention the really good bit of foreshadowing when Kaine and Spider-Man are fighting, and Kaine shows Peter his reflection in a broken mirror. I thought that was really good foreshadowing there. That was nice. But anyway, it was nice to see Carnage, and we get this turn for Kaine where he's not quite a bad guy. I mean, he is a murderer, he is crazy, but he knows Spider-Man is a hero, and he does everything he can to defend Peter for Judas Traveller's random trial. That was pretty unique. Unfortunately, I feel like the last issue really undermines that entire thing, but I'll get to that in a second. The third issue was cool because we had the big reveal that Kaine was another clone. He was the first clone, actually, and he bore the mark of Kaine on his face. We finally get the big moment where Kaine he confesses. So yeah, that Ben is free. Then we get to this last issue here. I'll say up front, I think the best part was the art. The combination of Buscema and Sienkiewicz gives a unique style, and it's very haunting artwork. Kaine, in the first 3 issues of this arc, didn't quite look as menacing as I was hoping, but in this last issue, wow, he looks like a cool villain there. I guess I have to talk about that ending, and it's one of the most controversial endings in the history of Spider-Man, and the fact that, Peter Parker's been a clone this whole time, and like I said, the second part, the trial of Spider-Man, where is he a hero or a villain, and proves what such a good man he is immediately undermined by this, where Peter goes into a psychotic rage, trying to fight Ben, and he ends up backhanding Mary Jane and leaving, and God, this is a mess. First 3 issues I really enjoyed. I thought it was a nice, tense storyline with the trial going on, and the fighting between Spider-Man and Kaine was really good. But this ending, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. I get that they were trying to do something different. They were trying to do something shocking, but like I said, it's not good. If I had to give this one an overall rating, I guess I'd be generous and I'd give this a C. And that's if it hadn't been for the ending, I probably would have given it a B. But no, I might even say C-. So yeah, that's my feedback, and this is Russell of Tomes of Evil signing off. Have fun, Spider Pimps.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
So C. Oh
Yeah, Russell makes a really good point. I think how parts 2 and 3 were really kind of showing how we talked about how noble and how good a guy Peter Parker was, and then all of a sudden in part 4, he just this about face and he smacks Mary Jane. He goes into a psychotic rage. It kind of really undoes all that, as Russell said, and I think that's a good pickup.
Oh yeah. All right. Before I forget, he had like a very quick message for you, Ray. Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, and Ray, have fun covering the greatest comic book character of all time, the Dark Knight, Batman. No, seriously. I'm a big Mooney. I am a loony. I am a Patroony. So, Moon Knight for life, Ray. Moon Knight for life.
Don't back down, Russell. Come on.
Thank you, Russell. I look forward to it as well. I'm always open to learn more about the Dark Knight. It was good, but yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, any other thoughts on Russell's comments of?
I mean, I see where he's coming from, but I mean, it's probably nostalgia talking for me. But it's probably like a closer to the B- range for me. This story.
Yeah, I was about to say C+, maybe B-. I mean, I totally get where Russell's coming from, because if you measure this against other stories, like maybe stories that you love, this is really yards away. But how about you, Matt?
Yeah, I think that I don't think he's being generous with the C- or C whatever. I glean more towards the C+. It was fun. I don't know. I don't have any massive problems with it. It didn't feel like work to read it, even if there's so many things that you get invested in, and the ending isn't that great, but you still enjoy the experience and see where it goes. And a lot of this is hindsight playing in.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, certainly as well, because like we have that benefit of like knowing what to expect and knowing how this was received, and so I reckon we've prepped ourselves to some degree. Can only imagine how this was. Well, we heard, Phil, how it was received through Howard Mackey and Terry Kavanagh. On the when it came out, and it was just viciously torn apart. But you can see how that would have been so surprising, all these things that they did. But yeah, I reckon we're a bit more lenient because I mean we know.
Well, yeah, because I mean, think about it. They said they supposedly at this point they're like, oh yeah, Ben Reilly's going to be the original Spider-Man. It's like, oh hey kids, any of you, probably most of the people reading the book at the time, hey. The last Peter Parker you've been reading about for the last 20 years, that was a clone.
Yeah, exactly. A huge shock for everyone. Yeah, but but totally understand where Russell obviously coming from. It is a hard one to really kind of gauge, and yeah.
And if you think this one's wacky, wait till the next episode, Scarlet Pimp's episode.
Lovely. Okay, can't wait.
All right, so let's see what's coming up next. Oh, that's right, we got some fun stuff coming up next. Lilith and I even recorded some of it. All right. So next week, for those of you on the podcast, you will hear Web of Spider-Man 64 and 65 when the Acts of Vengeance villains come back.
Oh, nice.
Oh, and then before you listen to episode 120, first go catch Comic Capers 105, part 1 of our Eternity Century crossover.
Ooh, Eternity Century!
where Lilith and I cover Spider-Woman 33, so you Spider Babies will love that.
Oh, yes. Yeah, read that issue. Very good.
Extra special feedback by one Mr. Matt Kona.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then parts 2 and 3 will be right here. Episode 120 will be Marvel Team Up 120. Spider-Man and
Eternity Century.
Spider-Man and Dominic Fortune versus Eternity Century. And then, of course, it wraps up in
two powerhouses.
Yes. And then it wraps up in Superior Spider-Man number 9. So, yes, Otto Octavius gets to smack Eternity Century around. And then, of course, April wraps up with Maximum Clonage.
Maximum Clonage.
All right.
I'm hoping we'll see Eternity Century in his flying penny farthing. Penny, what do you call it? That cycle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, you will. I mean.
Excellent.
Well, as Matt pointed out in his feedback, he's like, hey, he's on this bike and he has that mannequin. What's up with that mannequin?
Yeah, what is up with the mannequin? I don't know. It's a bit weird.
You could have saved some money and just got a regular bike instead of paid the extra money for a tandem bike and a mannequin and the napalm bomb.
But then he wouldn't be Eternity Century.
That's true.
What Lilith said, she thought that was like the origins of like the real doll or something.
We don't know what went on in that town, but
oh yeah.
Hey, come from a simpler time.
Yeah.
All right, so we done?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Right. Another month gone to Scarlet. I feel I missed Scarlet Spider already. I'm gonna wait again.
I know.
Anyway, sorry, I just dropped that. Yeah, just
No, I know.
It is a fun journey to go through. Although we may give it low ratings, it is. I'm enjoying it.
I mean, we're all kids of the 90s. We're all reading these in the 90s. Kind of all the 90s books were kind of weird and wacky. I mean, come on, look at those like last 5 issues of Mark Spector Moon Knight. Come on, Ray.
Oh yeah, very wacky. Very. I can't wait to hear some how that's covered. Yeah.
Oh yeah, isn't that what Lilith? Isn't Lilith covering something?
Yeah. I think the last 5 issues. So. It's going to be weird.
I might need some of that audio. Just her. What the? We'll have to remind her she can swear over there.
Yeah, she can.
Okay, so yes, all right, kids. So send your thoughts. Plenty of spider goodness coming up. Email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember to follow the Ultimate Spider-Cast on Facebook, Twitter. I can find links to all of our various shows on all the social medias for all our shows, like Sector 2814, the Green Lantern Podcast. Catch Matt Kona there. And you can find links to our Patreon, links to the merch, links to everything at Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics. And remember to support the sponsors, Tweaked Audio and Hunt a Killer. Use the code Southgate for both of those for discounts. And then go pick up Pod Life, the book, now in digital and paperback. The audio version is coming. I know it's in the works. I got to record my chapter.
Cool.
Yeah. So yes, go pick that up on Amazon. And when you do, use the link for Southgate Media Group right down there in the show notes. Help us support this show, the network, and that shadowy mastermind pulling everyone's strings, Rob Master Doom Southgate.
Make it rain, so says Master Doom. Why did your eye drift over to my box?
All right, Matt Kono, where can people find you?
I'm not really doing that much, but I'm Matt Kona across all the social media platforms. That's it. Come find me. Listen to the Green Lantern podcast. Send in some feedback about anyone else's feedback.
Slow down. We need this for drops. See you later, bunkies.
All right, Ray, I heard you a few podcasts. Where can people find you?
Oh yeah.
Even yesterday, even yesterday, Connor's like, "Oh, he does every podcast." I'm like, I know.
Oh, look, easiest way to contact me on Twitter at RayRayPod, REYREY Pod, and that will cover. I'm happy to chat about any of the podcasts I do. Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast on Moon Knight, Last Sons of Krypton, a Superman podcast on Superman, and To Know Her is to Fear Her, the Spider-Woman podcast, as well as, of course, Scarlet Spider. I love to talk about it. Send me a message on Judas Traveller, on Seward Trainer, and let's dive deep into those characters. But yeah, at RayRayPod, that's the best way. Check it out. The latest To Know Her is to Fear Her dropped as well. I'm not on it, but my co-host Saren did an amazing job with Carla Pacheco and Perich. So I was unable there. The little guy was a bit crook, so I couldn't make it, unfortunately. But she did a great job, and it's a real fun chat that they have. Talk about everything. Carla's partner, Stunt Dick, makes an appearance as well.
Oh, really?
So that's yeah, he does. He drops in. It's very fun as well. And as well as our latest Last Sons of Krypton. That's going on. Great guns. And our 200th episode for Into the Night is coming around the corner. So that's only a couple of weeks away. Big things planned for that. So yeah, keep an eye out.
Yeah, Ray does some good shows, especially To Know Her's to Fear Her, or as Russell called it a couple episodes back, Saren and the Sausage Man.
Sausage. I think we got to change the title. I like that.
Gobble gobble.
Oh yeah,
it was just a really nice package.
All right.
It certainly is.
Whoa! The kangaroo pouch. All right, kids. Again, thanks you for joining us. Spider-Man 64 next week. And in 1 month, maximum clonage.
Way. I object.
But until next time, swing on back.
Are you a fan of comic books? Are you a fan of comic book villains? Well, join me, Russell, as we take a walk on the dark side with Tomes of Evil, the podcast dedicated to discussing, analyzing, and overall glorifying the villains of Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and all your favorite indie books.
Tomes of Evil, a comic book villain podcast.